Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome back to the Arrangement After Show, Episode 4, Season 2. We are talking about Mason is really gone and what's going on with Zach, Kyle's assistant. He knows a lot more than he leads on. And what's going on with Megan and Kyle. They got to get it together. We're going to talk about it and break it down, so don't go away.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
This is the right thing just to get us up and jamming.
Yeah.
Like,
guys, it's like 9 something, you know? We got to get some
exercise
energy going on here. Welcome back, guys, to the Arrangement After Show. We are so happy to be here. Taquaila Jackson, what's going on?
Oh, full week. Happy Resurrection or Easter Day for you this weekend. It was going off. And back to normal work life this week now.
Happy Monday to everybody listening or watching. Nasta here, and we are missing our 2 other lovely co-hosts, Tessa Saval and Jessica Carroll, but they will be joining us next week. But overall thoughts of this week's episode?
I finally was so excited. I was like, so many hit cliffhangers, and I didn't. We'll get into it.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I'm just going to say that I'm really getting annoyed with Kyle's attitude. He needs to get it together. And I think that's the one thing that I keep thinking out of all these episodes. I constantly am wondering when he's going to turn around, because Megan is constantly there for him, and he's constantly barking at her with no matter what she does. She can't do anything right.
And when do we see his sessions? I feel like what is his whole story, and where is he at in his progress? Because I feel like it's a continual counseling experience that they're supposed to have. So why haven't we seen him at any of the retreats or any of the sessions? And then I also feel like it's going to be a culmination of things that will progress until the end of the season, maybe a cliffhanger. But yeah, I feel like it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
It's getting on my nerves because I need Kyle to start treating Megan like the way she should be treated.
I'm with you.
Let's get into it. Alrighty, so let's kick it off. We find out that Mason has actually died, and I don't understand why they would bring Mason into the storyline and then to get rid of her that easily. So 2 questions. Do you think Terrence had something to do with this?
Ooh.
Or do you think that maybe this is just supposed to kind of stimulate, like maybe Mason was brought into the storyline to kind of stimulate Deanne and Terrence's relationship, because we did see them kind of hot and heavy this episode.
Okay, so I don't think Terrence had anything to do with this one, surprisingly. I think maybe their history and just where they could never get satisfied. Maybe she had cancer or some terminal illness that she couldn't beat. But I feel like that is why she was brought in, so that maybe Lexa had to lose her in order to focus more on her relationship and marriage with Terrence. And I think Terrence was when he had his sessions kind of coincidentally with Megan as well. So I think it's kind of crossed with both of them to bring them back to them connecting. And finally, I don't want to say finally, that sounds odd, but having sex. It's the first time we've actually seen them Intimate, yes. And really, and really just be one and show their vulnerability and just the love that we would hope, they would have in their marriage. And it's just not all business. So I was actually excited about that, but also just to hopefully see what's to actually come out of it, if they're really going to be on one accord or they're going to fall back to their original patterns. Because it was just last episode, 2 episodes, Terrence was sleeping with that younger girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that's not going to just go away.
Definitely not.
Over a day's like, oh, I want to have a baby with you. All of my actions before this are going to change. Sure. Okay. I'll wait until I see it happen.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, it is true. I think that Deanne and Mason, that whole situation was probably there to kind of string us on to the whole Terrence and Deanne relationship, to see that grow. Right. But it was interesting to see that we see Mason's son more in the picture, and Deanne really reached out and tried to, lend a hand. He actually took that hand a little too far.
He did.
And thought a little too much behind it.
He did.
But it was interesting to kind of see how that, he's going to be into the storyline a little bit more. But I don't know. I'm still just curious as to why they brought Mason in to let her go so soon.
And now her son too.
Right.
What is his storyline going to be for
Right.
the rest of the season, and what is that going to mean between him and Lexa?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was disappointed last week when I said she died. I was really joking. I thought that was extreme.
It was too extreme.
But-
I thought maybe it was a car accident.
Exactly. But
And that's what's funny is that we already have so many questions with all these characters. We don't need one more looming over our heads that we're
Right.
never going to get the answer to.
so hopefully we do. That's what I was gonna say. I really do hope, because I like closed endings. We
Same.
see she's dead. Hopefully she will not come back. And no afterlife type of thing in this show. So hopefully we'll get a little beginning of how her and Lexa began, and maybe if Terrence really knew how deep their relationship was, and maybe Wes being around will spark that from her. I feel like too, Lexa's kind of wanting to be the mother figure now to Wes, because she kind of knew about his trials and errors from Mason. But I don't think I'm too excited about
Terrence and
Lexa actually working good for their marriage, working good together. And I don't want them to have a baby.
it's going to be interesting if they do have a child, because it would be seriously crazy to see how they would actually, because right now their careers are everything to them,
Right.
and that's their big focus is Kyle and their careers. So to bring a baby into that situation, it would be interesting to see how that dynamic changes, because I don't really know who would be willing to be selfless.
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
they both are kind of selfish. So to see them be selfless for someone else would be very, very different for their characters.
And also too, it would make this deranged child be born and raised, because I feel like he would have a nanny, or she would have a nanny. They still wouldn't give the love and attention that they actually want to, as they do all the patients who are the people who actually come to IHM, and not to their child. So I still, the child will be neglected in some areas. So I'm not looking forward to that if it does happen.
Yeah, speaking of children and growing up, we obviously learned that Shawn, in this really weird session at IHM, to where she has to, it's a new thing to take your clothes off,
To be more vulnerable and
Which-
open, but
is weird.
yeah.
I don't really understand it, but whatever. I don't know. The more we see Shawn get involved in these Terrence situations with IHM, I swear I'm thinking she's actually falling into the trap.
She is.
I-
I'm already there.
Yeah.
Because you see, I feel like when she was up on stage, she was a reflection when Terrence told her to close her eyes. And when she opened, it was kind of like a aha moment for her. Like, oh, I didn't expect to go to this place, but now I'm revealing it. And after she revealed her parents' divorce and how it made her feel, and they made her choose, you could see like the weight lifted off of her. And then for her to really come in, thank him the next day or however long it progressed, I feel like it was genuine and she was glad. So it's actually helping her. It's helping her grow. It's helping her deal with whatever may be hidden in her spirit. But it's also the wrong angle to where now it's going to come in between her and Megan.
Right.
That's the biggest thing for me.
What's really confusing me is the whole Megan and Shawn situation, because they at the beginning of that season want to take down the Institute, but we've seen nothing of them working together to actually take
Right.
down the Institute. If anything, they're at such farther ends of the spectrum. Yeah, Shawn's tried to figure out how she could kind of see what it's like over there, and Megan's doing the small steps she has that we saw in this episode, but it's nothing where they're working. I don't feel like they're working as a team. They're working separately together. Does that make sense?
It does, definitely. I think Shawn's a little scared to tell Megan she thinks IHM is working for her and she wants to continue to go along with it. And then also I do think she is trying to protect her job as well. So those two things I think will outweigh whatever plan Megan has, is which she asked, like, what's your next step? Do we go to the police? Do we out them on social media? Like, what is your next step once we bring them down or we reveal who Terrence really is? That was actually a good question, because what is next?
Right. Who knows?
We'll leave it to,
Yeah.
the writers to tell us, probably season 3, but still.
Right.
She wants to know because she has a lot riding on it. And you can see that. And I just don't, from here on out, I don't think I trust her.
Yeah, Shawn's always kind of been iffy to me,
Yes.
because she kind of, remember, she knew a lot about Hope before she actually outed Hope to Megan. And it was almost as if she outed Hope to Megan to make herself better as the better friend, which she kind of, I can't remember exactly, but she kind of had some iffy moments as to where her loyalty lied.
Right.
So I don't know. There's something's something's deep within her that I think she would choose. I'm seeing her choose IHM over Megan, and I'd be really interested to hear what Tessa and Jess would have to say about this, because we all kind of have a different feeling about how Shawn feels about the situation and whether she actually really is there to protect her friend or to kind of like only look out for herself.
I think Megan is all she has herself at this point. I don't think she can. I thought Shawn was going to be a really good partner for her, but that happened. I think for me, last episode, I was really done with Shawn. I was like, okay, no, she's on her own goal or agenda. So Megan is on this at her own. And I think it also came to the point where she sees that she's still being followed, and she thought she was trying to be just as discreet as possible and disguise and everything. And that's also going to be a bigger issue. Right.
Especially because she's learning so much more about how much control they actually have over her life. And that's kind of going to start to, I think, raise some flags, which I can't forget that just because she doesn't know about these things and they're not in the forefront of the storyline doesn't mean she's not going to catch up to them later or not. So she's learning and kind of growing and figuring it all out. But, you know, it also is really fun to learn and grow and kind of grow in all areas of your life.
Yes.
For those of you who would love to do all of these amazing things, we've got the perfect podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos, podcast edition, is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos feature celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of your life. From health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and so much more. Let our Maria be the big sister that you've always wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Be sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know that the Arrangement Girls are the ones that brought you there. Again, that's Conversations with Maria Menounos podcast edition. Go check it out. Guys, it's amazing. All of the amazing talent that Maria brings in interviews is so inspiring, and it's fun.
You learn so much about their stories and how they've gone through trials and tribulations, and it helps you personally as well too, because we're all kind of going through the same experiences, maybe different stories, but you know, the emotions, the things that happen to us all kind of circulate to the same place.
Right. And the best thing about podcasts especially is that one is free, which number one is
Always.
amazing that you're getting all this content for free, but also you can download it like prior to the actual listening to it, so you're not using much of your data, so it's just stored on your phone.
That's
too.
Great.
So that's awesome. And you guys, you can listen to it in
everywhere.
traffic,
exactly,
anywhere you're going. You can actually listen to it when you're shopping with your headphones on. It's like you got your best friends right there with you. But speaking about best friends and being right there, I have been wondering if Hope is going to come back into the storyline, and we got her back in the storyline finally.
I forgot about her, honestly.
Really?
I did. When I seen her on the bus, I was like, oh, Hope. There you go.
For a second, I don't know why I thought this, but for a second I was thinking that it was a bad Photoshop version of Megan, and I thought that's why she was looking at it.
Yes, and I was like, well, what movie was this in, or something that was old that she did? But yeah, I was like, perfect.
Well, it was so funny because I was thinking it was bad Photoshop, and then I realized, oh, that's Hope, and then we obviously got brought back to her. So Hope has some answers for us, apparently. She knows some people that had bad experiences with IHM that she can share with Megan. And so Megan kind of goes to her and asks for these things. But it is kind of crazy how, let's not forget that they were able to see the conversations. Like Hope, like her phone has been stalked before.
Right.
So why does she not think that like she's not going to get stalked going to a park?
Well, I think, like I said, I think she thought she planned as well as she could. It was dark. She was in all black. She had on glasses and a hat. Like she was trying to be in her best disguise ever. And it was just something I think because she's so gun-ho, she being Megan, on trying to figure out what Terrence's endgame is, what he's about, what his story is, that she forgets the little things. And i.e. that person driving in that car by them as slowly as ever. That should have been a signal, or maybe her spidey sense or something should have went off. I also thought too for a moment that person had something to do with Hope, like it was about to be paparazzi come out or something that she had planned, because we know she's sketchy as well.
Yeah,
too.
she's very sketchy.
I thought it was someone in connection with her, because she was like, you're going to be really upset when I tell you this. So I was like, what did she set up Megan for now? But luckily, she didn't do it. However, now she's ousted because Terrence has someone following her still.
Yeah, which is not too surprising, but we know that Terrence has still got bad intentions all over.
All the time.
And it's just crazy because, you know, we kind of see Terrence almost stick up for Megan a little bit this episode, or, you know, we have this friendship that we thought was progressing, and I kind of thought that maybe Terrence was growing to actually be fond of Megan as a friend in the way that he looks out for Kyle.
Right.
It seemed as if he was maybe going to look out for Megan in this way. But I don't know. I really don't know where the whole Terrence and Megan relationship lies. I don't know if she's really going to throw him under the bus one day or start to actually believe him, as we see Shawn kind of is starting to really believe in all that Terrence does.
Yeah, I think they're both coming for each other, different reasons and different goals. Because when they were in the limo, I think, or somewhere in the car, and he comes over to her and says, you know, he apologizes for not casting her in the kill plan. Like, she would have been better. Maybe the reviews would have been better as well. And she was like, well, it's okay. It's nothing we can do about it now. And I thought that was genuine. I was like, okay, that's actually a genuine moment. And then we go and see at the end, like, he had her fouled too. So I want to know, I guess he's still not really sure or positive that she is the right one for Kyle, or again, what he knows about Kyle that we have yet to see as viewers, the clash that could possibly come. Right. So I don't know what or how long this will go on. Let me say that, between him and Megan, but one of them will come to button heads at the end, and it will be, I think, a huge explosion.
For sure. There's definitely no way this storyline can end without it exploding in everybody's face.
Right.
And we kind of see a little bit of an explosion with Kyle this episode. Let's get into the negativity of the kill plan and kind of, you know, Kyle's motives towards everything. He's, like I said in the beginning of this after show, he is totally getting on my nerves. Stop being so explosive.
I think if you said it kind of, even from last week's episode 2, we don't know where this attitude is, where this chip on his shoulder, or what is bothering him in his brain. He needs a session. We need him, maybe not with Terrence, but we need him to go and have a session so we can figure out as viewers what is going on.
Right. And we all know that there's this deep underlying dark past that he has, but we don't know what this past is. So I would love to be getting some answers about what could possibly be making him tick so easily. Maybe he's got some unstable, you know, medical issues that we don't know about. I don't know, but it's just really frustrating to constantly see Megan jump through hoops and rains of fire and then basically
be shut down.
Yeah, every single time.
Exactly.
Again and again. It's frustrating.
Yes.
It's really frustrating. And we're all kind of rooting for Megan and wanting to see the good side of her. And she's working really hard with this movie and in comfortable circumstances to try to prove to Kyle who she is and what she is. And it's frustrating.
And you know what, too? Just to see that, I feel like all of this will come to a head, or we'll see more of his anger and rage start to come out once. I feel like he's going to be on to Megan. If Terrence really didn't have her followed, I think it was Kyle. Because when she was just like, oh, I'm probably going to go meet up with Shawn and then go to yoga and then meet up with Shawn.
Maybe he's starting to get suspicious.
Yes. And I think some of the lies that she's telling, I think she's going to try to trust him and tell him what she's doing. But then again, his loyalty and love to Terrence and IHM is who he is. It's going to separate them.
Taquaila, that is such a great point, because let's not forget that Kyle is the face of IHM.
He is. Yes.
So he's going to try to protect it just as much as Terrence, if not more, because his face is on the front of it. So that is such a great point that I don't think we've really captured yet. And that'll be interesting to see how much Kyle really maybe has more control over Megan's life than Terrence does, and we're just not seeing it. You know, he kind of hides behind Terrence, but maybe he's just as bad, if not worse. We don't know that yet.
I think I would like that play, though. If he is, and we can see possibly where some of this anger may come. And I need Lisbeth to make another appearance maybe next week. That would be great.
Figure out what's going on with her.
Exactly. So that we can learn more. But that would be shocking.
Very much so. Speaking of shocking.
Yes.
Zach's assistant.
That was a shocker.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
All right. So how do we feel about Zach? How do we think he's going to play an integral part in this story. You think that maybe this is the last time we're going to see, and this was just, you know, a snippet. Now you can never know. I mean, maybe Zach would just go away one day, you know?
And especially the way you see Megan click, like he was like, I thought he came in and he was really serious. So I would have believed him. I'd have been like, okay, well, like start texting or something. Where can we go? Where can we meet to talk? But she just threw him off like, no, I forget her exact words at the end, but she leaves out the trailer and continues on. So I feel like he's going to still come for her. He's seeing things of what he knows from his experiences and his boyfriend experience. And I think that's going to kind of also add up what Lisbeth is seeing or been through as well. They'll get Megan eventually. She just has to figure out a way to not be recorded, to not be followed, and to not give alert to Terrence or even Kyle to what she's doing. Shoot, or even Shawn at this point.
Well, what's really interesting too is the fact that Megan, she does things where she knows she's being followed and she knows she's trying to hide it, and then she does things like when she meets up with Hope and thinks that no one's following her. Right. You know what I mean? So there's different things where it's like she is completely aware, and then sometimes where she just almost forgets that she is in close counters with IHM and Terrence in all this situation. And
I feel like she's trying to just find her lane. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to get tougher for her now because she doesn't have any other allies. It's just her.
Very true.
You can't do that being Kyle's fiance, being an integral part of, or face as well, or becoming one for the Institute as well. You can't, it's too many different legs that you need assistance with. So I figure maybe Hope might come and be an ally for her, or maybe it will be Wes, or you know, who knows? Mm-hmm. We were introduced to a couple of new characters, not Hope being an old one, but a couple of new characters that will come in and maybe start to help her, or she can manipulate to helping her.
Yeah, I like that. I think that kind of pretty much sums up this episode. Is there
we didn't.
Oh, what do you want to talk about?
No, we did. I'm sorry. I was saying we didn't talk about the kiss, but we did. We did. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I think we kind of covered everything.
I think you're right.
It was a lot of explosive moments, but they all were kind of stretched out. We did and it was, you know, a lot of more so of, I don't know. I just feel like Kyle's just being weird.
I want to piggyback on one other thing. We have Megan Morrison, who's actually played by Christine Evangelista. She tweets often during the show, and she said yesterday that all of the women on the show have their own agenda. They're not just running along following someone else's.
Oh.
So with that being said, I kind of want to pinpoint and start paying more attention to whose agendas. I think we already know Shawn. I think is just worried about her career. That's it.
She just wants to make sure that she's got the career going. She's got the paycheck. You know, she wants to be settled and secure. And I think she's just looking for her happy ending, and she doesn't care. I'm with you on
that one. Lexa, I'm not really sure. I think it all feels good for the both of them right now because they're highly emotional and sensitive to what's going on in their lives. Her especially losing Mason. And that's why I think she's now agreeing to, well, I have left this Terrence, so I better make the best of this. Let's go ahead and try to have a child.
Right.
I think Terrence, too, Megan shook him up some when they had their session last episode. So I think he's still a little shaken up by, one, being vulnerable with her. And then, two, we still don't know who came after him, who shot him or was attempting to shoot him in the garage and stole his car.
Yeah, or they're just gonna throw that under the bus and bury that.
Well, we might. We can never know or never tell. But I think those things. One of the women have something to do with that. Mm-hmm. One of the women do.
I think that they definitely have such integral parts in this storyline.
Yes.
And we're almost kind of not focusing too much on them because of the fact that there is so much behind Terrence and there's so much behind Kyle that we don't know what their backstory is. And we're just kind of fixating on that one. Really, we need to look at the smaller pieces of the puzzle right now.
Yes.
Because I think there's so many of them that we're just focusing on the ones that are blowing up in the most way. You know, we see so much emotion out of Terrence and so much emotion out of Kyle, you know.
That's who I wanted to talk about, and I just totally forgot her name. But the new guy, Xavier, his girlfriend, when she first comes up in the show, her angle. I want to know, something is wrong with the two of them. I don't know what they as a couple have agreed to come and do.
I think she just wants to be famous, and I think that that's kind of her ploy with having having Xavier, you know, as a good high musician, and she's just trying to kind of, I think, be the tail end of his success and kind of just like come up with him
where he's going. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more innocent if anything. It's just that she wants to kind of be seen.
Are you seeing some attraction from Xavier to Megan, and Megan's not really hip on that, or is that just me?
I don't know, because that one scene at the piano where, you know, that's kind of where that Kyle asked if he wanted to be an actor.
Right.
I think it may be one of those things where they have some sort of immediate attraction towards each other, and I think he, if anything, would play off of it more than her, because obviously he has nothing to lose. Well, I guess besides the job, if he hits on her. I don't know. I'm thinking, if anything, maybe they'll just kind of, you know, have a one-on-one conversation one time, because maybe they'll need to work on their chemistry or something. And I would actually love to see, this could go into predictions, to see a scene between them together where they kind of open up to each other. And it's more so they kind of form a bond of a friendship. And then that kind of feeds into both of their significant others figuring out, wait, why are you spending time together? What's going on? And they're like, nothing. We just kind of can relate. We have, you know, we can help each other out. We're working together.
And I can understand that chemistry, especially as artists, as actors, from their point of view. So that's why I was like, am I reaching too far or not? But I feel like when Kyle was shooting their sex scene, it made me feel uneasy.
Right.
I was like, okay, so you're shooting your fiance, really going in, both of them up close, one camera shot with just the whole imagery of it. I wouldn't have been able to continue to be professional and shoot and film all of this. And then to go home and do the same thing. I thought I seen like a twitch in his eye or something, like, okay, this is too good. I need to rein it back a little, but I'll wait to see what happens. I'm curious though.
Yeah, definitely very curious. So much good juicy details, and in every episode it's like we have so many questions and then we need so many more answers, and we're just constantly in the dust.
I feel like this episode piled it on us so good though this time. It just gave us a whole plethora of different angles and storylines. So I'm excited to see the rest of the season.
Exactly. And I'm glad about that, because it wasn't as if I don't think we got introduced to too many new stories. Yeah. It was adding to the old ones, which was great. Just like kind of adding Hope and Zach into the equation to kind of give us some answers about IHM, and I think that's going to build on each other.
Right.
So that's really fun. But let's get into our special segment, which is our little spotlight on. Yes. And today we're going to focus on Lexa Doig, who obviously we love her. She is such a sweetheart, and we've had her in the studio last season.
She was amazing.
She is such a sweetheart. She's just a power woman. So awesome. She was born in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And she mentioned that she still lives there. I think they shoot a little bit there.
Correct.
And then they've said that some Hollywood scenes that they have specifically, they film obviously in Hollywood.
Right.
But yeah, so she's been married since 2003 to Michael Shanks, and she actually was recently in Arrow, which that's a good show. If you haven't watched it, it's on the CW.
Yes.
That's a good show. And a fun fact is that she dropped out of high school in grade 13. Currently, she divides her time between Vancouver, where she works, and Toronto, where she grew up, and was a rhythmic gymnast as a child.
Wow. Give that
Rhythmic,
up for Lexa.
yeah. Go for Lexa.
Yes.
That's awesome. Rhythmic gymnastics is hard.
That is. And then to switch over from that to acting, too.
Yeah.
That's a huge transition, but that's amazing as well.
That's so fun. That's like our fun little segment for Lexa Doig, and I'm hoping that we can maybe try to reach out and see if we can get her on this season.
Yeah,
that would be
we have
amazing.
to have somebody this season, and I'm trying to reach, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, which would be so great. But let's get into some predictions for next week.
TV predictions.
Alrighty. Taquaila, take it away.
This is always the hardest for me.
I know.
I think we'll see Lisbeth next week. I think her and help me refresh Vince. His name is not Vince.
Which character?
At the end, the
Zach.
guy. Thank
Zach.
you, Zach. Where did I get? I don't know where I got Vince.
I
but
sometimes look at
Lisbeth-
people and see them as a different name and face, and I make up their name. Like, I am on a show previously where I want to call her Elizabeth. Elizabeth is not her name. Her name's Catherine. I don't know
she
where.
look like one,
but she looks like an Elizabeth, so I can't help
I'm sorry.
it.
My apologies.
No, that's okay.
But yeah, so Zach and
Abby and Teresa, you guys just need to get your stuff together.
Yeah. Thank you. I think we'll see both of them, and I feel like once they start telling Megan more what's happening, it'll be I don't want to say threesome, but it'll be the three of them pulling together information to finally bring out more of what's going on with Terrence and more of even what's going to go on with Kyle. And I think that's going to be the shocker for Megan, is going to be something she finds out that she's not going to be quite sure on how to handle.
I like that.
And I don't think she's going to have the resolve to hold on to it and sit on to that information. I think she's just going to blast it out, and then that's going to make Kyle suspicious of how she finds out and what else she's been doing. And that's going to make him kind of look at Lisbeth, because I think he's going to know where that circle came from. I am undecided if I'm really excited to see Hope or not. I feel like she was not too genuine about kind of rekindling their friendship, and maybe it's because she has her own show now. That's what she's always wanted to be. She wanted to be the actress in the limelight and be the star of her own show, which she has, so maybe that could play into it, but I'm not too sure about how that's going to work. But I would like to see a reunion, maybe, if that's what we'll call it, between her and Shawn.
That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of see them fend for it and see what's going on.
Right.
Love it. I love all those predictions. I know because we get so many questions questions opened every episode. It
right.
makes it so hard for all of these theories and things I have. But I am going to say that kind of what I mentioned about Xavier and Megan. I think they're going to have a scene together where they're alone without any of the boyfriends or girlfriends around. But like we know, Megan's not going to do anything. She is not going to screw up a marriage or her contract where she would have to pay all this money that she doesn't have. You know, I think that's definitely, she's going to be fine. But I think that we're also, you know, I think you're right. I think we're going to have an opening moment for Kyle to finally figure out some of his past, because we know it's this big dark barrier, but we don't know exactly what or why. So I think we're going to find that out soon.
And then also, too, I think Megan's actually going to go find her father. I know she talked to Kyle about it, and Kyle was like, yeah, we don't need him. Who's for us is for us.
Which that kind of frustrated me, because
It did?
it a little bit, because I understand he wants to push away the past so much, but if it's something that, I mean, I guess it's not, I don't know, it is kind of opening another wound of a storyline we don't really need to open, but
I
he
think
pushes things off.
yes, and I don't think Megan is that type of person. And I think if we get to the bottom of whatever the IHM is actually supposed to help these people, I guess, deal with their past, whatever their hurts are, and grow from it, she's going to have to go through that. Not having her dad around is going to be a major part in what their relationship starts to become even more as they progress. And I think that's what's going to help him longer down the road, too.
True.
He got to do his final goodbyes with his dad, too. So I think it would be only fair for him to support her go through that. But I think she'll go see him. Regardless if she tells him before or after, I think she's actually going to meet him.
Gotcha.
That was the last one.
I love it. Man, so many predictions, so little time.
Yes.
And that kind of just wraps up our after show for today. Guys, thank you so much for joining us every week. And be sure to tweet us and comment below. We want to hear your predictions. Message us fun memes and gifts and get involved in the conversation. Please. Taquaila, where can they find you on social media?
They can find me at Taquaila_I am. And you can also find me Mondays at 6 hosting Barry.
Amazing. And guys, Allie Nasta here. Find me on Twitter at Allie Nasta and on Instagram at EllieGirl. And like I said, tweet us and also follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. We will see you next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.